Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's video. This takes into the start of September. We'll begin having a look at what's going on in the central Pacific Ocean, because we've got Hurricane Lane, which was Category 5. Yes, it's gone down to Category 4, but it's still a major weather event, and it is bearing down on the Hawaiian Islands very, very soon now. So it'll be with Hawaii in the next few hours, and it's going to bring some pretty severe weather, to say the least, to them. Once we've had a look at that, we'll have a look at weather for the next week to 10 days. We might just be seeing the first signs of some northern blocking beginning to appear for early September. So I'll talk you through that in a moment. Just say that today's second video will be coming up this evening, and that's going to have a look at the bank holiday weekend. It will be your fifth and final late summer, late August bank holiday weekend update. So I'm going to start off having a look at what's happening in the central Pacific in terms of tropical cyclones and disturbances. This is from the National Hurricane Center. So that is currently Category 4, major Category 4. Hurricane Lane. These are the Hawaiian Islands, the islands of Hawaii just there, and Lane is getting ever closer. This is the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center in terms of Hurricane Lane. Actually, let's just go back to this and I'll show you that it is a Category 4 hurricane, which means we have sustained maximum winds at the moment of 145 miles an hour. Gusts will go in excess of that, probably to 160 mile an hour gusts. So really severe winds still, although it has gone down from Category 5 to Category 4, but still really severe weather from Hurricane Lane. And this is the forecast track of Lane from the National Hurricane Center. So its current position is just there as the major Category 4 hurricane. It's heading northwards towards the Hawaiian Islands. It should be very, very close to Hawaii by tomorrow morning. This is 8 AM on Friday morning, presumably US time. But it will be getting very, very close to Hawaii overnight tonight and into tomorrow. It may just stay slightly offshore from Hawaii, pivoting in this sort of position. So just perhaps staying offshore from Hawaii and doing something a little bit like that. But it's going to be close enough to give a real battering and to give some really severe weather indeed. And of course, a direct strike on some of those Hawaiian islands still can't be ruled out at all. Excuse me. So this is going to be a major impactful weather event for Hawaii. We'll be hearing a lot more about it in the next day or so. Right, so coming back close to home, these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts for the next week to 10 days from the Penn State University. These take us through to the start of September. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is area in the atmosphere. High pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red extrapolates high pressure, and blue to low pressure. So we can see that in the 7 to 10 day time frame, we've got above average heights appearing to the north and northeast of the country with the ECMWF. That's going a long way north, actually. It's kind of like becoming centred to the north of Scandinavia, almost. So this is almost now starting to become a northern blocking type feature with below average heights underneath it. The jet stream also looks like it's coming southwards as well. The only thing that's holding things up is this area of above average heights that's further south still through France and into central parts of Europe. That's just managed to keep the jet stream and those troughs of low pressure still slightly to the north and west of the UK. But if that ridge to our south weakens, then there's nothing to stop the jet stream coming southwards with these areas of low pressure. So we could go into quite an unsettled spell of weather with that, particularly if this northern blocking feature becomes centred somewhere up there. So we may be seeing hints of some rather cooler and possibly more unsettled weather coming up into September, perhaps. But GFS very similar. The only difference is that it's weaker with that area of high pressure to our south. So it's just centred to the west coast of Portugal. Really still have that sort of northern blocking feature that's in evidence. To the north through the early part of September with the below average heights underneath it. The jet stream looks like they're coming underneath as well. So again, this could be really quite a signal for something a bit cooler, a little bit cooler and a little bit more unsettled as we go into the early part of September. We've been thinking a lot about high pressure through early September, but if this above average heights becomes a northern blocking feature, then actually that could send us into a cooler and more unsettled situation through the course of September. So interesting times at the moment, and the models are struggling a little bit with what is going to happen through the early part of September. GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking like this. We're looking at Cardiff in Wales today. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Cardiff. So obviously temperatures are on their way down now. We're going into a cooler phase, and we will be cooler over the next few days as well. It's going to be quite a cool bank holiday weekend. Into the start of next week, so for a couple of days temperatures lift up again through the start of next week before they drop away through the middle part of next week. So rather up and down with the temperatures at the moment, but overall actually it is quite a cool period that we're going into. Now this first week of September, this period just here, is still causing uncertainty. So it's this period through here, and you'll see we've got several ensemble members that are quite warm, several ensemble members including the operational run of the GFS which are quite cool. So quite where that's going through that first week of September, it is still a very uncertain scene, but if we are going to see northern blocking getting itself together through the early part of September, then that could take us into a rather cooler and more unsettled spell. Precipitation wise, so this big rainfall spike just here is for Sunday. Looks like Sunday could be a notably cool and wet day. After that, through the very end of August into start of September, generally quite a drying trend, actually, quite a dry trend for Cardiff. So high pressure will be close to us through this early part of September, but it's just where that high pressure is going to go. And I think there is a lot of uncertainty now about where this high pressure is going through the first part of September. Temperature anomalies from the 23rd through to the 31st of September are looking like this, and they're coming out a bit cooler than average actually for the UK and Ireland, so I haven't seen that much this summer, but a cooler than average week is being predicted there for the UK and for Ireland too in the week ahead. The precipitation anomaly looks like that, and it's close to average through most parts of the UK, so it is a little bit more unsettled as well as being cooler from the 23rd through to the 31st of August. This is how the GFS is looking for Sunday. So we've got a really quite a cool and wet day coming up on Sunday with this area of low pressure out to the west, bringing a weather front in from off the Atlantic. That could be quite an active front to bring a fair amount of heavy rain, and temperatures will be really suppressed under that wet weather on Sunday, although as it clears, say, the temperature may stage a little bit of a recovery, but nevertheless really quite a cool day indeed coming up on Sunday. Bank holiday Monday looks a little bit better as we have this very slight bump of high pressure building up from the south, but it is a very slight bump, and as we go through to the sort of rest of next week, actually it looks rather unsettled through to the middle part of next week. Low pressure is still close to us, so after a slightly warmer day perhaps on Tuesday, we're back to relatively cool and possibly quite changeable weather for Wednesday as well. But into the second half of next week, we try and re-establish this ridge to our south. Notice we've also got this ridge building up here over Scandinavia with low pressure in the Atlantic. So it's a very complicated situation. We've got a lot of high pressure to the south through there. We've got a lot of low pressure out to our northwest, and we've also got the high pressure building up over Scandinavia and backing into Russia. So that's a very, very complicated situation for the models to work out for the last day of August, and that explains the uncertainty that we are seeing within the model output of the ensembles for that first week of September. Now, this particular GFS run actually has the high pressure building through the country by day 10, which is Sunday, the 2nd of September. So that's taking us to drier conditions through the opening days of September. Reasonably warm as well, not necessarily talking about anything overly hot, I don't think, but reasonably warm weather there. That high pressure ridging through. Now, in the more extended range, this high pressure does finish up as a little bit of a northern blocking type feature. So there it is from Greenland through the Norwegian Sea and going up to the north of Scandinavia. So it takes a little while to get there, but eventually the GFS does turn this into a northern blocking feature with low pressure out in the Atlantic waiting in the wings to run underneath it with the jet stream. So if we could run on a day or two more from that, it is possible we would go into quite an unsettled and potentially quite cool sort of spell there. That's a very, very extended range. That's Saturday the 8th of September, so it is unreliable. ECMWF is looking like this. Low pressure moving in on Sunday, bringing quite a bit of wet weather. That clears away for Bank Holiday Monday with things improving. Then on Tuesday, got the ridge building to the south, but the low pressure is out to the north and to the west. That's Wednesday with low pressure coming back in from off the Atlantic. So I think the idea for the early part of next week is Monday is an improving day. Should be reasonable amount of sunshine. Temperature's pleasant, but not overly warm. Tuesday could be a warmer day down in the southeast, and then Wednesday we're back to cooler northwesterly winds once again. The second half of next week sees this re-establishment of the ridge as we run into the final days of August. We start to get this ridge building through the UK, which will take us to a drier spell in the second half of next week. That's how we look on the first day of September with the ECMWF. That's the second day of September, day 10. Notice again we've got this high pressure appearing here way to our north. That's a northern blocking sort of feature with low pressure down here. We have got this ridge, we saw it on the height anomaly chart, we have got this ridge to our south-southwest. That's just managing to fend off those low pressures and the jet stream. But if that ridge starts to pull out into the Atlantic in a day or two after this, then with the high pressure to our north, we will probably send the jet stream and the low pressures down into the country like that. And then finally, the GEM looking like this. So again, low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic on Sunday and into Monday, and improving picture as we take the persistent rain out of the way. Then we're into Tuesday, which is a rather warmer day and dry day for the south, but soon into the middle part of next week, we're back to these cool northwesterly winds again, and showers or longer spells of rain returning with that low pressure. In the more extended range, we get to day 10, and again, we are seeing signs of this high pressure building sort of between Scandinavia and Greenland around the Norwegian Sea, which could possibly start to move in the low pressure and the jet stream, bringing us into a cooler and wetter spell of weather maybe as we go further through the first week of September. So there are question marks about September now. A couple of days ago it looked very strongly probable that we would build in just a big area of high pressure and have a lot of dry and warm weather through the early part of September. But there are more question marks about that now. I think the first couple of days of September, the first 2 or 3 days, are likely to be reasonably dry and warm, but with these hints anyway of northern blocking beginning to get going, it is possible that we might be starting to edge towards something a little bit cooler and a little bit wetter for September. We'll have to wait and see on that. The models could be going over top with this sort of blocking feature that they're wanting to develop around the Norwegian Sea. But let's just wait and see where this is going. It is certainly different what we're seeing here with the charts compared to what they were showing 2 or 3 days ago, when they were very, very strongly set on building up the Azores high and just getting us back to the pattern that we had through the summer, really, which was high pressure from the Azores to Scandinavia. It's not looking that clear-cut now. Right, so we'll have more tomorrow. It's going to be JMA Friday tomorrow. That's your month-ahead look ahead with the CFS V2 models. We'll have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days as well tomorrow. Also tomorrow, we'll have the final update for ENSO for this year. So your very last look at the ENSO updates. After that, they'll be shelved, and they'll form part of the winter updates, of course. And then coming up later on today, we've got the final update for the bank holiday weekend. That will be with you this evening. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.